From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, September the 27th, 2018. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the United Nations General Assembly today, where he spoke of the threat from Iran, revealing another secret atomic warehouse in Tehran. He also spoke of peace, saying he looks forward to working towards that goal with the Palestinians. Netanyahu thanked President Donald Trump and U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley for their unwavering support for Israel at the UN. He also hit back at critics of the recently passed nation-state law, who accuse Israel of racism and being an apartheid state, including Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, who said exactly that when he took the podium shortly before Netanyahu today. Netanyahu called such accusations preposterous, saying all minorities in Israel have the exact same individual rights as Jews in Israel.
Israel is called racist for making Hebrew its official language? This is downright preposterous. There are more than 50 countries here that have crosses or crescents on their flags, even though many have non-Muslims and non-Christians, many of them living in their midst. And there are dozens of countries that define themselves as nation states of a particular people, even though there are many ethnic and national minorities within their borders. None of these countries are denigrated or libeled for celebrating their unique national identity. Only Israel is denigrated. Only Israel is libeled.
He told Abbas, "You should know better," citing, for one thing, the PA's paying stipends to the families of terrorists.
In fact, the more they slay, the more you pay. That's in their law too. And you condemn Israel's morality? You call Israel racist? This is not the way to peace. This is not the way to achieve the peace we all want and need, and to which Israel remains committed. This body should not be applauding the head of a regime that pays terrorists. The UN should condemn such a despicable policy.
Netanyahu concluded his remarks reaffirming Israel as both a Jewish and democratic state. In addition to accusing Israel of racism, Abbas, in his speech given just about an hour before Netanyahu's, accused Israel of committing acts of blasphemy every day, he said, against the holy sites of Jerusalem, especially, he said, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Temple Mount. Abbas also claimed the Palestinians have never refused to come to the negotiating table with Israel, saying, "We only believe in peace. We don't believe in terrorism and violence." Abbas called on U.S. President Trump to rescind his decrees regarding Jerusalem and said the U.S. was too biased to oversee peace talks. He also called for all UN member states to recognize a Palestinian state. Abbas ended his remarks by paying tribute to the so-called martyrs, whom he called heroes. Martyrs referring to the Palestinian terrorists who have attacked Israel. And yesterday at the UN General Assembly, Netanyahu met on the sidelines with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, where, according to the Prime Minister's office, the two focused on the situation in Gaza and peace prospects. Sisi's office said the president stressed the importance of resuming the negotiations between the two sides, the Palestinians and the Israelis, to reach a just and comprehensive solution based on a two-state solution and in accordance with the international treaties. Netanyahu yesterday did not attend a conference to end anti-Semitism held at the UN because it was sponsored by UNESCO, the UN's educational, scientific, and cultural organization. If you recall, last year Israel said it would withdraw from UNESCO over its anti-Israel bias. Netanyahu tweeted, "While I commend all efforts to combat anti-Semitism, I decided not to participate in the conference on anti-Semitism due to UNESCO's persistent and egregious bias against Israel." Turning now to some other news, the European Parliament Budgetary Committee passed a bill this week to freeze over 15 million euros from the Palestinian Authority if it does not remove incitement from its school textbooks. The bill states that the funds will be released when the Palestinian Authority has committed to reform its school curriculum and textbooks to bring them in line with UNESCO standards, standards for peace and tolerance in school education. The bill cites textbooks published by the PA last year, which are financed by the EU. Containing, the bill states, numerous examples of violent depictions, hate speech, in particular against Israel, and glorifications of jihad and martyrdom. The bill goes to a plenary vote next month. Well, the first woman to run for the mayor of Jerusalem has taken herself out of the race. Rachel Azaria of the Knesset's Kulanu party announced yesterday that she was withdrawing and put her support behind frontrunner Likud member and environment minister Ze'ev Elkin. Azaria said, "I'm proud of the historic opportunity to be a woman candidate for mayor of Jerusalem and break that glass ceiling." She said, "I'm withdrawing my candidacy out of a sense of responsibility for Jerusalem," adding that Elkin is the only Zionist candidate who can win. The mayoral elections in Jerusalem take place on October the 30th. And Israel's President Reuven Rivlin held his annual open sukkah today, welcoming the public to his residence in Jerusalem. The sukkah was decorated by local school children, Israel's Ministry of Agriculture, and Israel's Ministry of Health, whose exhibits promoted better nutrition and wellness. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, September the 27th at 7 o'clock, we hear from historian David Kaufman from Limud, New York 2018. At 8, Israeli author Yossi Klein Halevi and TV journalist David Gregory discuss the Israeli-Palestinian conflict with Rabbi Angela Buchdahl. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with IDF Major Amit Deri, who is founder and chairman of Reservists on Duty. At 10, we hear from 3 Israelis living along the Gaza border who share their personal experiences of the ongoing Hamas violence in a program of the Jewish National Fund. And coming up right after this newscast at 6:30, Senators Ben Cardin and Lindsey Graham speak at the Jerusalem Post Conference. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, September the 27th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.